1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
About to break. My barrier is destroyed.
Hello everybody and welcome to our coverage of the Overwatch World Cup 2019. I am Mitch Leslie here with Matthew Morello, and it's a pleasure to have you with us here on one of the many channels that we're broadcasting on. It's Austria versus New Zealand to begin this bracket A. Two teams that we've seen at the Overwatch World Cup before, Matthew, although things are different this year.
Yeah,
we're right into game, so we'll spare you guys the intros till later.
We're a little late to get into game. We ended up actually looking for that water cooler.
I haven't found it yet, by the way.
Not
still
able
no cooler.
to still locate the water cooler. So just coffee for me. But yeah, Austria is a team that we've seen in the past. A lot of Overwatch World Cups, and they're getting spawn killed right now by New Zealand. So August pushes them back to the spawn with a coalescence. They'll go back, get set up right around the initial choke here. So about 45, we'll get up to about 50% here for New Zealand on the point. Color Hex, player from the Overwatch League, you'll be pretty familiar with him. He's going to try and go to the high ground here, maybe land a Death Blossom.
Honestly, if you're watching, contenders, especially in the Pacific or Australian region, you recognise quite a few of these players on New Zealand, like Signed and August, for example. We're going to see the point pushed by Austria, but immediately Cheesy Deuces is already taken out of the picture here. He had Coalescence, no chance to use it at all.
Would you call that a push there from Austria? I mean, good lord. I mean, those
something
guys,
got pushed, Matt. I don't know what, though.
I mean, those guys were dead real quick. Sign comes in, lands a rocket punch. They end up investing, really just a meteor strike there, and they're able to take it. So now New Zealand's in a great spot to actually just win this first point here on Busan.
But hey, your boy Cheesy Juices experienced forced ult economy. He still has Coalescence. He's going to use it, but they've already lost the Lucy on the side of Austria. So Color Hex now fades out, straight back in, goes in with a Death Blossom. He trades there. Deceiver's able to pick him off, but now it's 1 DPS left for both teams. Gravitic Flux is thrown up, but in midair, Mac's going to be able to bring Sign back down. The problem is, Matt, Austria need to touch.
And too many ultimates here for New Zealand. Supercharger, Gravitic Flux online here. You may not even need to use it. So it looks like just have one player for Austria on the point. And now some more players coming back. But still, this is not a good start here for Austria.
Not at all. Fav is down, one of the star players apparently of this Austrian roster. It's not going to be enough. Sign comes in with 2 of the Meteor Strike. And New Zealand start off strong. Now we get a moment, at least, Matt, to chat very briefly. For those that are wondering, we
already had a moment to chat.
That's right. That's right. There's no water cooler. Well, I think we've given everyone the update, but obviously there's 5 different streams right now. We're only on one of them. Overwatch is going to have a stream. Contenders has a stream as well.
I think there's really 4 streams. You have Brennan, Josh, who, arguably, that'll be a stream. It'll happen. They're going to go live. They're set directly to our right. And Color Hex, somebody who's a frequent viewer in Sideshow stream, he actually pulled out the Sideshow Death Blossom there. So you Wraith walk in behind the enemy's shield, and then you immediately hit your Q in the middle of everybody. And he was able to get one with it, which pretty successful Sideshow Death Blossom.
And the best part was he really made it a Sideshow special by making sure he went in when a Supercharger was up for Austria.
Yep.
Just so he get blown up nice
Obviously,
and quick.
you go in and be vulnerable when the extra damage is available for the other team. We'll keep a counter here on our stream today of how many Sideshow Death Blossoms we get on stream.
So we have the May Bastion here for New Zealand, so probably not a huge shock. The Farah here for Fav, so we'll see what he can get done. He's going to have to be avoiding Signed at all costs.
And you can probably hear me giggling because Mitch doesn't realize, but they have actually brought a water cooler and they're putting it down directly to his lap.
It's right behind me, baby.
So
let's go. I'm going to stay hydrated, Fav.
Your dreams do become reality, kids. New Zealand with the May Bastion here. So remember in Overwatch League for a little bit, we saw some, I think it was the Outlaws, they would play like Torb over to the side. You can kind of use Bastion here as well. A lot of open space if you can get the Bastion to the side of the point. May, just great area denial as you're going to get a res here just to get murdered again.
Yeah. Well, Fav is too close to the ground, got frozen up by Color Hex there, and even though theoretically the Farah will be able to stay out of lethal range from Signed, especially if he's getting pocketed, as soon as he gets low enough to the ground, it's frozen up and taken down. And that first fight went for quite some time. But look at the ultimates that have been already accrued here, especially for New Zealand.
Now, Austria is going to make some changes, so Mac will go from the Wrecking Ball over to Sigma, so now you get Double Shield in the mix. Double Shield with Pharah Hanzo, really strong, like Shield Break comp. A lot of teams, so I've been hearing, they've been running a lot of Pharah with Pharah Reaper, Pharah Doom. Hanzo has not really been in the meta that much. I mean, a long-range sniper, right, to take out the Bastion makes sense, but with so much great shield uptime, it's very difficult.
Five tries to go for a barrage above the point, but they've already lost Joker. In this fight, New Zealand now playing with fire, but the Coalescence is going to keep this fight going a little longer. It's Science City in the back behind an amplification. Matrix, baby. Carla Hex goes in with the Blizzard. Gets a nice fat heal, and Mac tried to get away from that one. Gets caught by the Biotic Orb of August. That is a brutal 50% and counting now. And the man on your screen, the only member of New Zealand who was present in 2017 for their World Cup offering. This team's looking very solid to start with, but they got a brutal bracket.
And you're going to have a supercharger for the next fight, so Joker will have that Arisa ultimate, power up that Bastion yet again. So pretty much every other fight, Bastion is going to have some kind of damage boost, whether it be Amp Matrix or supercharger. 70%, you win this fight, you're pretty much done here for New Zealand.
Supercharger here for Mini-Me, it's time to go. Deceiver just trying to get some angle on the point, but there's so many shields in play. Signed is off to the side, though, and didn't have protection. He's able to get around the corner just in time, and Color Hex catches Deceiver out as he was trying to find the kill on the Bastion. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Signed, move up to the point. It'll be the cleanup for New Zealand, and they have support ultimates for the next fight, and a Gravitic Flux.
Yeah, I mean, look, 90%, Gravitic Flux, Coalescence, Ant Matrix. I mean, this one is as good as over, as Fab will get to the point, just have to recall just to get a touch to go in OT.
Here we go, Fab pushing up again, but gets gunned down before he can really make it to the point here. Thought's going to try and touch, but Gravitic Flux will keep Austria off the point. The Wrecking Ball drop in here, and we're in overtime. And there's not much to be done. Sign can sit off to the side here, and Austria looks like they're going to continue a rough run of international appearances here in 2019. Struggling in map 1 in New Zealand.
Yeah, now it's some time. We should probably explain how today will work.
Before you do, I'm going to get a cup of water.
Okay, yeah, you get a cup of water. I'll explain how it works. We do see Austria take map number 1 here. These games for these bracket. So the bracket then will feed into groups, which will then feed into another bracket. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the kind of alternate. You kind of get the flow here. Is bracket play. Anytime you see bracket play like this, and then Saturday it will be first to 3. Tomorrow for groups it will be 3 map sets. So that'll be more familiar to like how Overwatch League works, or every map matters, right? Because you're gonna figure out who makes out of groups. For this though, today we will have first to 3s, as it is single elimination. So lose, you go home. I mean, a lot of teams flying from all over the world here to play potentially, one game. It's got to be pretty tough.
Yeah, a lot of these guys have come an extremely long way. Maybe New Zealand not as far as many, but Austria, I mean, that's a long trip here. Look at that! Look at that synergy in the front row, by the way, for New Zealand. Look at the hand holding. I'm just waiting for Kumbaya to come out.
I didn't see that.
So if you do watch Contenders Australia, you probably recognise guys like Jungle Jazz, August, and Pliers, obviously signed as well. A couple Mind Freak Esports players, New Zealand Warrior players, Jungle Jazz here, Color Hex, I mean, obviously plays for Boston Uprising. So these guys also, we've seen some of the Pacific teams play show matches in the lead up to this tournament. New Zealand actually played against Chinese Taipei and drew with them. So, Chinese Taipei normally been quite a strong competitor, especially as you get close to that sort of top 16.
Do you want to hear my opinion on Overwatch World Cup show matches pre-Overwatch World Cup?
I thought, yes, sure, yes.
I mean, look, I've told you I want to give my opinion on it, so I'm going to give my opinion on it. I mean, when you're doing these scrimmages, and then Doomfist is such a prevalent part of the meta, and you're on 100-something ping, and the other team's on 60, who you think's going to win?
Well, okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's
how they end up drawn. They just keep going back and forth with who hosts the game, and then they end up in a draw. I mean, you have no idea how this thing is going to shake out until you get here.
I mean, teams like a lot of players from New Zealand aren't any strangers to this, especially a lot of the players from like the Australian and Pacific region have had to play on high ping to get decent scrims, just because the density of top teams, especially a couple of years ago, wasn't great. Now, obviously, it's a little bit of a different issue, but New Zealand definitely has a lot of quality players on this roster. Where's my boy Huwu though? That's what I want to know. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, we're just waiting on the next map here. We're working off this same feed that you're seeing right now. So obviously you'll see here, Hybrid will be our map 2. We'll be over to Escort, and yeah, if needed, Assault and Control will be rounding out the pool. Austria have represented at almost every World Cup so far. Generally
We
have
casted them in
struggled.
Poland last year.
We casted them multiple times in Poland. They were, in fairness, in the same group as South Korea and Russia,
Right,
if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
So they had a very tough time. But in all fairness, Matt, that time they didn't have to travel too far. Whereas, South Korea came out to Poland, had to play to sort of get their way into the World Cup. This time is a little bit of a different story. It ain't Kansas anymore, Dorothy. I'll give you the big tip. They're a long way from home here.
No, and no, the players don't have shots of the players today, but they're all playing in another ballroom, so they're
That's
all
right.
sitting pretty close to each other. Sure, the emotions and tensions are high in there.
Well,
I
especially
keep
for
looking
this-
to my right and I see Brendan and his mustache, and I'm just instantly distracted.
Bro, I'm actually disappointed we don't have cameras on today because that is something else, bro.
It is powerful.
So-
I mean,
I do want to mention here as well, if New Zealand wins, they will go on to play against Australia in the semis here.
No
So,
wonder why we got this group.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe. But a lot of those players are really known to each other as well, so that should be a lot of fun. And then, obviously, in our other side of the bracket, Denmark and Taiwan, Chinese Taipei is actually being played out right now over on one of the other streams here. So the winner of Australia and New Zealand will play against the winner of Denmark and Chinese Taipei. We're going to be jumping in now to Hollywood, New Zealand on the attack, and not a big change in composition. They still want to play this main bastion.
I mean, why not? I mean, they can't stop it. It's a difficult composition when you have the Mei wall come into play, right? Color Hex, a very good Mei Overwatch League level player, so I think it's a good comp here for New Zealand. They'll be running Ana Baptiste, so a lot of healing here for New Zealand. Austria's going to set up with their bastion up on the high ground, far to just kind of deter the area that New Zealand wants to get set up in. So they'll probably try and use the Mei wall to wall off Deceiver on his bastion, get him moving, and then the focus while the bastion's moving is to try and get the Pharah out of the sky.
See if New Zealand can put together a rotation that can sort of shake the enemy bastion out of position, but Deceiver's at a very safe distance right now. Going to be pretty hard to close that gap. So it will be a shield war again, but Sign, okay, there had to be an immortality field there. It's good placement from August around the corner, so can't really be shot. Sign's going to have a lot of time here to make those shots, and Fave just hung out in the open a little bit too long. That immortality field placement, so critical there. Color Hex now could just wall everybody off, and it's an easy cap to start things off for New Zealand.
I mean, this is, I mean, you kind of mentioned we've seen Austria struggle in a lot of World Cups. I mean, this is starting off same way as...
They still have What 7, by the way, as their coach nowadays.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
old
going to
mate.
say, I love that guy. I
Yeah.
mean, every time we see them play, like,
So
usually we get a lot of time.
Dignitas main tank player.
Every time we usually get a lot of chance, a lot of time to get and sit with the players, chat before. Always a great guy. So.
Well, last year, couple of years ago, the Austrian team were a bunch of trolls. You remember Uber Bingo, the Lucio player?
Yeah. Those guys were great.
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
Color Hex just trying to line Deceiver up from long range here. That shield now getting busted up, but there will be a replacement one. Fave, though, tried to go in for the barrage, and it did not work out. Sign was just a little bit too quick, and now he's going to go for the tank configuration from the high ground. He has to be careful, and Accretion could still be the end of him, so he ducks away.
They get
Just settles for
immortality
damage.
filled out, though.
I mean, and now they're out in the open. This is going to be nasty. Mac, there's nowhere to go. No kinetic grasp to keep him alive, and New Zealand will continue to roll through. The Kiwis, well, at least look a bit more damaging than the Rugby World Cup.
And you've seen teams, and I'm sure if you play ranked and ladder or whatnot, like May feasts on teams who just cannot coordinate around it. Especially when you combo that with Bastion, like you have the ability to just steamroll teams. I mean, look at this. They go Hanzo, and there's just a Sigma shield right in his way. He has to back all the way up. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, what do you think about this pick in general?
Like checkpoint. I don't really love it. I mean, look, if you're going to run Hanzo, just play Pharah. Like, what's the point? Like, at least you can get angles, right? You can take flanks. Like, Hanzo, you're just going to be, what, shooting shields? Like, they have two, like...
Not going to be a lot for him to do until those shields are down. Immortality field is deployed. He keeps Signed alive, but Joker's gone down. This is the first time New Zealand's momentum actually gets stifled a little bit. They're going to back up. Color Hex wants to commit. Still, it's going to be a Gravitic Flux to knock him up in the air, and that's going to be a dead Mei. But that Amplification Matrix off to the side means that Sign can work Mac down. It's only a trade, though. Gravitic Flux now, and New Zealand are throwing good money after bad. It didn't really work out. Now, without those shields in play, Fave is actually finding kills on that Hanzo.
Yeah, but I mean, the spawn's going to be so close here. I mean, regardless of a few kills, this is going to be a fight win here for New Zealand. They coalesce this? Alright, well, anyway. Oh, my lord, come on, man.
So they really committed. That's so strange. Like, Austria want to commit.
Well, to be fair, New Zealand did end up committing Supercharger there. So I guess, but you coalesce when you're the only one alive. You'd love to have the coalescence here, right? Because that allows you, without Supercharger in the mix, to get aggressive, right? You could actually get up, play the cart, and push them back. But now, without coalescence, you can't really do that.
Kalahek's able to get the better briefly of Deceiver, forces him to Wraith walk to the low ground, but Joker gets caught in the Dragon Strike. Orisa, 4 legs? Yeah, well, not as mobile as you might think otherwise. Both supports are down for Austria, though, and I think Kalahek realizes this might be the time to strike. Oh, whoa! He's run into favored. He gets away with it.
From?
Well, that is where Reaper wants to be, at least. He was at his optimum range, and now they're going to push the last couple of meters here. Cheesy Deuces attempts to get there. It's a sound barrier throw now as he drops onto the point. Well, the Mora gets dispatched rather quickly, and well, the Lucio can't make it there. Austria will have to concede all 3 points in this map and leave New Zealand with a lot of time.
3.5 minutes is a lot. And I think this is just a... So look, we see this at a lot of World Cups in the past. Is like one team comes in a little bit more experienced, they play the meta. The other team, they don't exactly play the meta, they kind of play somewhat close to it, but still just way less optimal than to have the Hanzo in there and to play that type of setup, right?
You have to feel like it's comfort picks to a degree.
Yeah, then you start to have to throw more ultimates, and you'd like to in some of those fights, you still lose those fights, and that's how you see some of these games just snowball out of control.
And I mean, Minimi is a pretty important part of this team. He was a rep for the team last year. Obviously, if you know Clockwork Vendetta, he's on that roster. There's actually multiple Clockwork Vendetta players here at the World Cup in general. Germany has 2 as well. You know, he and Deceiver are the 2 players that Austria definitely said that they were calling on to be the leaders or to really set the pace here. I mean, Deceiver's like a 4.3k peak DPS player, mostly hit scan is what we see him on. We've seen him on the Doomfist a little bit here. You know, a lot of the Bastion play from him. Austria are going to opt for the May Bastion offense here, whereas New Zealand are going to do something similar. They will play that off-angle Farah to try and pressure down the shielding.
D, yeah. Especially when you can play, so I don't think we have the... I don't know if the observers can hear us, but they have the sign sitting up in the right side. So when you move through the choke on that right side immediately in the doorway, that's where they'll put their Bastion. So when you come around the corner, it's going to be very difficult, you know. Color Hex is Overwatch League player, you know, he's able to land that May wall.
Also disgustingly good Farah.
But I'm saying for Fave on the May, it's the difficulty is to come around the corner, land the May wall right, get sign out of that right-hand side, and then also be able to do that while surviving the bar damage.
The Rockets come in, and we see Color Hex has assumed the same position that Fave had taken earlier on, just playing mostly out of line of sight over the top of that rooftop. New Zealand will probably try and push in through this left-hand side room. You can see the Bastions will actually be positioned right next to each other, trying to get rid of each other team's tank line. So this is where Color Hex is important. Joker can't... So Sign can't really do too much here to the bulk of Austria on this Bastion. He has to wait for them to expose themselves, but Color Hex has already gotten rid of that Immortality field. Austria have to move somewhere else, a rotation here to the backside.
But I don't think you need to burn Immortality in that spot. You weren't going to be able to get the Bastion set up.
Well, who are they trying to kill with Deceiver set up in that room? Like I mean, most of New Zealand's in this sort of room here. Okay, Air Matrix, this is dangerous. There's got to be a good barrage from Color Hex right now, but an Immortality field prevents the damage coming through, and he drops to Mac. Shots through. At least here, Deceiver wasn't able to make the most out of that amplification matrix. He had to be out of line of sight for a small time. Minimi takes a ton of damage and is fortifying, waiting for that next shield cooldown. And Signed is back.
They tried to Maywall maybe the Sigma upper off of the point, but they're not able to do so. So now you're still having Sign here just put down some more damage.
Yep. Amplification matrix plus tank configuration, that's just a heck of a lot of damage. Deceiver is burnt down awfully fast, and over the top can come Color Hex now. New Zealand get to provide damage from multiple angles, and Austria can't do a thing about it. That is a cleanup. Color Hex dominating there with 4, and Austria couldn't afford to look at him.
So now you come in with Blizzard here for Austria. Like, this is where you kind of miss having a Lucio in the mix, where you could actually, like, speed into the right side, get a Blizzard down in the close quarter, and you'll have at least the Orisa, Baptiste, and Bastion set up there, where you potentially could be able to take those players out, but...
1 minute 53 on the clock, Matt. Austria in a position now where they've used a lot of those key offensive ultimates. It has to be a good Blizzard, but here comes the Gravitic Flux from Plies. Minimi's already gone down. No shield available. At least one of the shields is missing. Blaze has to play a little bit safe here. He knows the Bastion's just around that left side, but Deceiver's caught here. That ult was fantastically thrown by Joker.
And that's where, you know, they go in with the Blizzard, right? And they have the right idea. It's the right play to make, but you just don't have the speed to make it around. The Supercharger comes down from Joker, the extra damage, and you're not able to do anything. No, also is not doing anything. Josh, he's behind us at the water cooler. Has put his headset on, cast a damn thing. I mean...
So, wait, does this mean what we're doing right now is technically water cooler talk?
I guess.
Since we're sat right next to it?
Right here.
But I'm not allowed to swear again, right?
No.
No, okay. Just making sure. Barrage here for Color Hex.
You know, Mitch Huber Leslie always, you know, holds the highest standards of professionalism for himself. You know, that's one thing I always heard about you. No, even before I worked with you, I was like, oh yeah, that Uber guy's a real professional.
When I don't have control about whether I say going live or not, I just can't worry about it too much, buddy. Color Hex, though, also not a care in the world. Straight over the top, getting rid of Minimi's Supercharger very early on.
You would think he's invisible.
Yeah.
Like,
at least to Austria, yeah. Maybe they can't look up. Maybe they have really stiff necks and they just can't.
Just shoot at him a little bit. All right, well. It's Color Hex. He'll have a barrage here for the next fight as see Mini-Me, he's just, go Mini-Me! Kill them all!
I believe this is what they call a textbook stagger.
He's dead.
Mini-Me couldn't really benefit from that because there's no way he was charging up a supercharger for this last fight, so it would just end up being a really long stagger. Not ideal. Austria won't have everyone here.
New Zealand's smart. They keep him alive. He knows the scenario there. No options to jump off the side. That'll be 2 amp matrices that come out. But you have Signed also in a great position here.
Deceiver couldn't shoot through the amp matrix. He was trying to get rid of the bulk of New Zealand. He didn't have the angle. The amp matrix was placed too far to his left, and so New Zealand just get to blow him up for free. Austria, no under the point. Easy as you like, New Zealand take the 2nd consecutive map in this series, and they're looking to lock it up real quick.
I mean, this one's going by super fast. As, that'll be New Zealand going up 2-0 in this match against Austria. So Austria tournament life on the line already. They'll potentially going home here. I mean, it's New Zealand. It looks like that's the case. I mean, New Zealand is a very strong team. Listen, tough draw for Austria here in round 1.
Well, this group with Chinese Taipei, Australia, and New Zealand in that same group, like it was always going to be a David versus Goliath challenge to sort of make it through, even to tomorrow. There's a lot of pitfalls and a lot of elimination potential for many of these teams going forward. You know, obviously we already have our top 5 teams from last year that get automatically seeded and don't actually have to play
in groups.
Through this
so
bracket.
that
That's right.
that will be Team USA, China, France, South Korea, and Canada.
Yep.
So those are your 5.
So
I did that off the top of my head.
You did?
That's incredibly impressive. You would almost think I recorded an hour podcast talking about this exact topic this week, which I did.
Oh, what really? Where can I? What was it? What's that called?
Plat Chat.
Plat Chat. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I have to check it out sometime, Matt. I'm sure it was really insightful.
Yeah, maybe you know. Maybe if you pay us, we'll bring you on as a guest.
You had to pay me, my man. I'll be honest with you. You want star power on that podcast?
So
you can open your wallet.
I believe the next map. So we've had Control, we've had Hybrid. I believe the next map type is going to be Assault. So Assault. Sorry, Escort. Escort will come up next. So just have to wait and see. It is a set map rotation, I believe. Not sure if every first round matchup has the same exact maps in the pool. I believe it does not, because some teams, some matches going on right now have Eichenwald as their hybrid. We had Hollywood, so nobody, I believe, has made it to the Escort map yet. So I believe we'll be the first ones out of all of the streams. So if you're also new, just trying to figure out what's going on with the World Cup right now, for the prelims, there are multiple streams. So you have different caster pairs on each stream. So I'm going to try and get this right here so I can give everybody a little bit of a shout out. So
nice.
Rialto will be the next map. We are clearly Matt, Mr. X, and Uber on Overwatch League. The Play Overwatch channel, that will be Bren and Sideshow. Sideshow will be on that one. ZP and Avast, they are on the Overwatch Contenders channel.
Yep.
You have Jaws and Leg Day. They are on OWWC2. And then you have Lemon, Kiwi, and Jake. They are on OWWC1. So 5 streams, 5 caster pairs, going all day, jumping in between all these games. So if you're we're in a break and you're looking for something, either of those channels, all of them great commentators, great games I'm sure going on. You can jump over to those.
And you'll have to fly around a bit because there are 5 different brackets today, but there will be some crossover. For example, Jaws and Leg Day are currently covering the Denmark versus Chinese Taipei match, which is a part of this bracket A. Obviously, the winner of that will take on the winner of Australia and the winner of this match. So we're jumping in. There's no necessary sort of rhythm to that. Just kind of try your luck and see. Especially we've got a great offering of a broadcast talent and also international players here to check out. So a lot of exciting prospects for coming years coming out of your potentially your region or your favorite region. We're on to Rialto here for map number 3, and another map where you should definitely expect to see plenty of Bastion, plenty of Farah, but we have Fave on the Torbjorn.
If you were going to play Torb, why not just play Bastion?
Well, I mean, does Bastion have a Molten Core?
Why do you need Molten Core? If you're going to play Torb, play Bastion. There's not really a point.
Ladies and gentlemen. Mimi knocked forward of his shield. So if you're going to play Torb, play Bastion. That's right. I'm looking at you guys, the one tricks.
Well, no, I mean, look, if you're going to play, I mean, Austria is playing very close to something that is, like, meta, so to speak. Like, just don't, because look, you have the turret for Torb, right? That's fantastic. You do a little bit extra damage, right? But the Bastion's just going to roll you over. Okay. And then the Farah is going to take out the turret. So you're really not providing much. Because you do have good shield break, like right, adding the Roadhog in the mix, but at the back, you're down a shield and you're down extra damage. So you're not even going to be able to utilize the Roadhog here. So it's just it's an extremely inferior comp.
Color Hex is able to play out of the effective range as well of Fave's turret, so he can sort of just pick it off constantly. He's done it yet again here, targeting that one specifically. Fave has to really play around this angle, but a hold is not going to give him the opportunity to break line of sight. And New Zealand can push up. I mean, there's no Sigma on the side of Austria here, which, you know, also kind of hurts them. They're lacking a shield in a big way and lacking a bit of flexibility at that. They're going to take a lot of damage from Color Hex now because they only have one of those static shields in play. Here, look, I mean, he's already built up to a barrage. He was dominant in that first fight.
But here's the issue now, that for Austria, right? And I was just about to say it, like, Mac is going to have to switch. Fav is going to have to switch, and now you're behind 2 ultimates when the other team has the better comp already. So now, how are you going to win, right? Like, where is your path to victory here? You just make it really tough on yourself. Ideally, like Overwatch, right? Like, you don't want to switch your compositions. Big rocket barrage there from Color Hex, as this will be another fight win for New Zealand. Ideally, you don't want to have to switch your compositions up 2-3 times to get a fight win, because you're setting yourself up for such a bad ultimate disadvantage. So, like, Austria coming out with the Torbjorn and now because they're committed to it, because they want to get Molten Core and the Blizzard to force the positioning off of the card. But then once you do that, what do? Like, you're going to have to go back and switch, and now everybody's in the same spot.
And they gave up that whole stage of this map. Another checkpoint already coming up for New Zealand. Just quickly, I'm aware that my microphone might be clipping slightly. I do apologize for that. There's not a whole lot I can do about it, except try and move it away from my face a little bit. So feel free to tweet me or in the chat. Keep me posted. I'll work on it as much as I can for you guys. Color Hex again, he used Barrage in the last fight, he's already up to 65%, and there's not much here that threatens him at all. Mac, obviously having switched back to the Sigma now, provides a little bit more staying power for Austria, but this could still be quite nasty. It's going to be a Blizzard thrown in, but it didn't quite have the range that Austria were looking for. New Zealand's able to work around the edges of it, accretion thrown in at long range, and here it is, the Molten Core.
There it is, alright.
It's everywhere, Matt! Joker and Sign fall early on in the fight, but Color Hex is still a threat. Mac is very aggressively positioned, and he's not necessarily in a winning fight here. He has to be careful. Yeah, there you go. Pliers just pushes past that shield and accretion Stoic into next Tuesday. Color Hex finally down now as Deceiver found him with that endothermic blaster, secondary fire. They might be able to slow New Zealand down here, but they'll keep coming.
Yeah, New Zealand wants to double down on this. The Sign will end up using his tank configuration. He'll move in. You'll bring back Color Hex. So now you're in a really good spot if you're New Zealand. You're at full strength. You have a barrage. You outlasted all of the ultimates that Austria was trying to build up throughout the match. And you have August will take out Fav there. So now you're going to have an Amp Matrix here, rocket barrage that comes in close. It's nothing you can do now. And I mean, look, the Amp Matrix you get it put down as well. The Bastion on the cart, they're just going to roll this one in.
Nothing much to be done here. Austria now switching over towards the Doomfist, but Fave never even got to the point. 3 minutes 49 seconds on the clock for New Zealand. As that attack, they didn't really diverge from the Bastion Farah, and they rolled straight on through. It's tough for Austria, man. Like, your first assignment here is going up against, you know, a much improved New Zealand roster. And
what do you do now if you're Austria, right? I mean, you don't really want to. We haven't seen them play like the Mei plus the Bastion. We haven't seen like a Doom Reaper comp from them. Like you can't really, when the other team is playing double shield. Like, double shield is such a strong and difficult composition to break right now, that your best course of action is to match. But if you don't feel comfortable in matching it, what do you play? What do you want to play? Like, I think playing some of the comfort heroes, like, you know, in previous metas, and I think you can get around it. But I think that in this meta specifically, I think it's just way too much damage to put down. So Austria looks to be coming out with something of a look of a classic dive here. So Genji, Tracer, Winston, D.Va, Lucio, Ana. Kind of classic, you'd have the Zen instead of the Ana. But I'm interested to see if they run this, one, and two, if they can make it work. I think this is obviously a comp a lot of fans want to see come back. Right?
It's exciting. It's explosive. It can be, I mean, when a lot of teams were playing a bunch of this dive, it was always very individually sort of based, right? So can the Genji get in?
The issue is look, in the old, in kind of old, when the dive was around, you can get around a Farah because you can kill players so quick with the Winston, D.Va, Tracer, Genji combo that you can survive the damage long enough to be able to make it work. The issue is, Orisa Halt now, Sigma Accretion, Immortality Field. There's so much CC and survivability. I don't know how you make it work.
In all fairness, both Winston and D.Va have been sort of brought a little bit more in line with the rest of the tanks in this game, right? So, you know, Winston's a little bit more flexible, is able to jump more frequently. Obviously, the you know, his barrier is a little bit more pleasant to use.
Yeah, but the thing that was great about the comp was the mobility, right? Lucio plus the tanks gave an incredible amount of mobility, and you were able to jump on squishier targets. The composition that New Zealand's running has no squishy targets. The squishiest target, well, Mercy or Baptiste, but Mercy's going to be up in the sky with the Farah, so it's really Baptiste here. But he has Immortality Field, so you throw it down, then with all the CC and the damage with the Bastion, Sigma, and Orisa, look, I mean, the D.Va's already DMA'd. Like, there's nothing you can do to really close the gap, especially with the Defense Matrix nerfs, right?
The reason why dive works so well is because you'd get a player advantage in 1 second. Like, you'd very quickly be able to get a huge advantage early in the fight with burst damage based from the dive, but with Immortality Field in the game, you can't really achieve a player advantage, and you subject yourself to the Bastion or the Farah for much longer than your composition is really built to withstand. I mean, with Defense Matrix not able to eat all that damage up, you know, you're eventually going to just have to eat a ton of bullets or rockets. Color Hex just chasing Thoic down now. Maybe he was hoping to boot the Bastion off the high ground, but Color Hex is looking out for this kind of stuff. He's checking both flanks right now.
You really notice the Defense Matrix nerfs, right? I mean, that's 2 times coming out the spawn that Minime's not been able to really even make it towards the payload.
And here's the problem, right? If you want to pressure New Zealand into dropping from the high ground, you need to get the cart moving, right?
Here's their chance, a Nanoblade opportunity here for Austria.
Concussive Blast. Oh, it's the Halt! Yeah, Cheesy Deuces wasn't going to get away with that one, and that's a Nano Boost taken off the table now. Mac taken down by Joker as well, and Signed War opts to drop here. He'll be able to prevent the payload from moving any further than the bridge, and over the edge, Austria go to try and reset. And that's a big risk you take. If you're trying to get away from Bastion, you're trying to break line of sight as Austria and get into the cart, you have to go around the sides. Both of those routes leave you very subject to getting knocked off.
And here's the bad side for Austria. Can they win a fight with a Nanoblade? Yes, absolutely. It is a very powerful ultimate combination.
But what about the next fight?
Right. I mean, the cart is literally at the spawn, and you're at 1 minute and 12 seconds. Here's the Nanoblade.
Okay, Immortality Field's going to get thrown down pretty darn quickly. Fade, can he deal with it? I don't think he knows where it is. He can't find it. August, it's finally taken down, but it's too late. The Nanoblade already blunted against the thick hide of the New Zealand defense. Deceiver's able to find a pulse bomb kill, but Austria have to use everything to even get something going here, and there's no guarantee this is going to be enough. Plyzer's able to back away here with the kinetic grasp, and the rest of the reinforcements have arrived. Color Hex has been there the whole time, and he's already taken down 2. Austria, they used everything they had left in the tank, and it doesn't look like it'll be enough. to get him to that first checkpoint. Sure, they'll win this fight, but there's another fight to be had.
Yeah, Sign will come back on 76 here as Mac jumps in. He wants to put some pressure on the 76, but the Orisa there as well is not going to be able to win that battle. So now you've lost your main tank, you've lost your Lucio here, and it's only 19 seconds left. You may not be able to get these players back.
I mean, and look, this is where Sign wants to be. He's playing Soldier 76 against a dive comp. There's no, there's not really any mitigation there outside of the defense matrix, and he had an amplification matrix to fire through. 5 seconds remain in the round, and Color Hex is making sure no one slips past them here. Mac gets to the cart and throws his bubble down, but everyone's already pushed up on him, and Joker's more than happy to take a face-to-face. Supercharger drop down as well. Fave is removed, and well, that's going to be that. Self-destruct, too many shields. Joker's Supercharger may have gotten taken down, but they don't need it anymore. D-suit on Mini-Me, and that will be that. New Zealand will hold here before the first checkpoint. That's a 3-0.
Yeah, they'll get the easy win here. So they take care of Austria. So we get our first match underway and complete. Tough job for Austria. A lot of good players on New Zealand. A lot of players with experience. They definitely look well practiced as New Zealand looks to be a force playing the meta here.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be going up against, in the next match, players that they're really familiar with. And it's going to be one of those games where both teams have a decent idea of each other's measure. Both Australia and New Zealand likely would have been doing a lot of their practice against one another in the lead-up to the World Cup. For Austria, though, unfortunately, they're going home. That's it. A single elimination here, and you only get one chance. On the other side, of course, of this bracket number A, or letter A, it's going to be Denmark and Chinese Taipei.
Number A.
Have already gone head-to-head. And we'll be able to find out for you who won that one, or you could probably check that. I could probably just ask him right now. Give me 1 sec. Hey, Jaws, who won? So it's a draw currently in that match between Chinese Taipei and Denmark. There you go. See, so we're all in the same room. I can just yell out over across to them.
So we do have a little bit before our next game would kick off. Yep. So I would probably recommend, if you're interested in following our group, to go over to Jaws and Leg Day stream. That is OWWC2. So OWWC2 on Twitch. If you go over there, you'll be able to see, I believe, what it was.
Yeah, so it's going to be map number 3 in that particular match. So here's your schedule so far, and all the quarters are happening right now. There's another quarter occurring in bracket A, which is what.
So this will be all. I think these are all the games that we are covering on this stream. So now that we see New Zealand win, I believe they will end up playing Australia. Probably we can actually maybe get that started pretty soon. I don't want to say anything.
I mean, we'll jump in as soon as they get it set up.
Because I think New Zealand probably just stays at the spot that they just played Austria at, and then Australia just comes and sits down. So I don't know. I don't think we'll have a ton of time between these two. So
yeah, so we'll let you guys know, just for the avoidance of doubt, we're sort of sat here with a lot of the other casters, and we're just playing it by ear in terms of which of these matches come up and when they start. We'll be starting, but for now, I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to head over to that water cooler, fam. You better believe I'm going to make the most of it. And then we'll return for Australia versus New Zealand in the bracket A semi-final. It's going to be huge. We'll see you for that one in just a moment.
The 2019 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built 5G ready. Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch World Cup. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch World Cup.
Last 2 years, I represent France. It's a huge honor for us.
Là où personne ne nous voit.
When esport was recognized in the US or in Korea, it wasn't in France.
Unbelievable! 3 now for Sue!
It's not representing a team, it's representing a nation, and there's a ton of people watching you because they are French and they want us to win.